and I didn't remove the overlay. Yay, because that, yeah.
Hi, I'm
Anyway.
James the Talking Skull.
This is JC with Welcome to the Grindhouse. Thank you again. This is episode 25. So, wow, we're actually getting to a fairly kind of cool point. I was looking. So, and here's a question I'll ask everybody just at the top before we do introductions. So, I've been thinking of doing it in seasons because a lot of other podcasts and a lot of other, stream shows do seasons. So, at the end of the year, do season 1 or just wait till we get to exit wait till we get to exit 50. Wait till we get to episode 50 before we go to the next season.
My thought about seasons is they need to have an overarching theme for that season. And if you don't have that theme, you don't really have a season.
Well, confusion has been a major theme of this.
Yes, but that's going to be a thread that runs throughout this entire series.
Terry is using his super author powers.
All right. Well, we are here. I'm JC. Bryce is with us, Gwen and Terry. We are missing GM Mike, who said he might hop on, but he has been being
so long.
He's been being the good dad.
He doesn't love us anymore.
I almost forget what he looks like.
Yeah, really. Isn't he some short guy with a big mustache? And
yeah. He needs to make a decision on whether he's a gamer or a father.
My God, the man's priorities. I mean, really.
Yeah. So, I get it. But no, it's so hopefully he'll be on later. Otherwise, we will just have to give our own GM advice. And
can we give intentionally bad GM advice?
Oh, I'm shocked.
Kill your players all the time, forever.
So and I think Bryce might have read this because Bryce and I both subscribe to Venger Satanis on Twitter, but he wanted to do unsafety tools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so instead of like X cards and things like that, he wanted to create tools that basically just when you flash it, like something horrible happens or it becomes a really sexy scene, or like, so just the complete reverse of like
the green check mark.
More, please.
You raise the X and point at a specific player, and that player gets all the attacks next round.
But it's not a bad idea. To be honest, I mean, sure, you'd have to kind of, you'd have to kind of gamification it, but realistically, having a deck of cards that actually add conflict of different types to your game, I think would be pretty awesome. So let's just say, for example, I'm running I'm running a game, a fantasy game, and as I usually do, I tangent or it starts to get really boring, like I decide to describe what the entire inn looks like. Terry can grab a unsafety tool, flash it up, and which basically tells me that I'm boring and I need to do something spicy to make it better.
The tavern explodes.
It's a brilliant idea. If Venger doesn't capitalize on that, he's crazy, and I will. Because
no, it's very true. I know in theater there, especially when you're working in
the Haro deck from Curse of the Crimson Throne. Yeah. That's the nicer, probably high glossy tarot looking one. Mine's just look like a little pack of playing cards.
They have but one of the things is when you're doing a scene with a scene partner that you really, really trust, you'll start to play this game called Raising the Stakes, where your job is to try.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. You'll try to get the other person in as much trouble as possible, just really hammering it to them in the scene. I could see that if you're with a group that you really, really trust and well, those would be great little tools of going, oh yeah, well this is what happens. Oh, you're in this inn, but guess what? Remember this guy that from a couple of weeks ago that you're in? He's there also, or that sort of thing.
Yeah, it just, I mean, I think that there should be a deck of cards that not just protect you, but actually give you real conflict, stuff that makes you sweat, something that's gonna grow as a role player.
I think you're only going halfway here. Why don't you have, the offense deck where you throw something out and it's an offensive topic that you now have to weave into your storyline?
Well, that would be, you could call it crazy ex-girlfriend deck.
My gosh.
Like, no matter, it's the whole thing of just going, how awkward is it? It's when you're at the club and she shows up.
You're at the club and your ex-wife shows up. Awkward.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be like, all right, you're all at the tavern. You're all huddled close together to discuss the next mission. And then everyone starts giving blowjobs. It's just, so there we go.
Blowjobs for everyone!
Well, that's, if you want to go for a more Dada spin on that.
But it is a brilliant idea. Honestly, I think that, I don't know. I
think you should tone that back. I think BJ's for everybody's probably not going to fly.
Yeah, well, you just show them the chart going, look, I rolled, it says blowjobs right here.
Yeah, in crayon, written right across the...
Who wants the staff of the Archmagus? Here we go!
Oh, God.
Don't break that staff.
All right, so...
This is why I'm the only girl in this panel.
Any girls in the audience?
Regrettably.
Well, also, like, Rachel usually watches us, but I know she's kind of like a sailor, so... Well, she is a sailor, actually, but nothing phases her, so... And Dana, I don't think there's anything we could say to scare off Dana. But anyway...
that challenge!
So we'll do a little... Oh, let me get back here, because we always like to talk... Well, we don't always like to talk about it, but damn it, I'm trying to have some regular stuff in here, so...
Don't talk about Bruno.
Here we go. Well, I wasn't going to play, I Hate Watsy bumper. Although I love the song, and it looks cool.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. But I want to do... And this week in stealing footage from Conan Exiles, we so anyway, this week in gaming, let's go around, kind of see if anyone's done anything cool, whether it's board games, RPGs, video games, craps, CeeLo on the sidewalk.
I could totally lead this off. We had the most riveting game where we picked up our adventure in the middle of what we were, and we went to 2 separate rooms and ended up exactly where we started at the beginning of the session so that we proceed into the next session without really having gained a single darn thing.
Nice.
I remember that. Yeah, so we're doing the 7 Arches module, or from Gatewalk, the Gatewalker series, and they're finally in the place called the Thin Lands, and they're trying to make their way through this old tree trunk to find this crazed fae that calls himself Kanipo. Anyway, at the last session, they ended in the combat. They were all beat up. 2 people were unconscious. We spent the entire thing getting everyone up, having interrupted sleep, going into one room, realizing, oh no, there's something invisible tossing spells at us. They go into another room and get attacked by paintings that are almost impossible to destroy. They run back to the original room, and that's where session ended 3 hours later. So,
wow.
Everyone moved, I think, less than 100 feet in the entire game. So,
It do be like that sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's when you need one of our patented unsafety tool cards. Where, I don't know.
The room explodes. There's cats everywhere.
Rocks falls. ...
So Gwen, what has been your experience this week for gaming, if any?
So I actually did a lot of stuff. I have 2 5e games coming up. And they're very different 5e games, because one of them is based off of the Fate series. It's like an anime where you summon heroic spirits, and you fight, and whoever wins gets the Holy Grail. and so it's like a high level, and then your heroic spirit is even higher level, and using like epic rules and stuff like that. And but it's like a team focused game, because instead of it being a PvP focused thing, the DM was like, that's horrible. So it's going to be like groups of people fighting against each other for the Grail. And I'm very excited for that, especially after picking up Deep Magic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Cobalt Press, right?
Yeah, as it has a lot of really cool magic options. And that series is very focused on magic and whatnot, because like you have to be a mage to be a master. And yeah, and then on the other hand, I have starting off at lower level, more of a proper adventure style 5e game coming up, and I am very much looking forward to that. I am playing a wizard, and I am looking forward to doing wizardy things like researching spells and finding silly magic items. And then the video game space, after feeling very lost for a very long time of like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I decided to pick up Adventure Quest. And I made a frog necromancer.
What's Adventure Quest? It sounds like that old
or not Adventure Quest, EverQuest.
Oh, wow.
EverQuest. Wow.
Yeah, EverQuest. And yeah, I made a frog necromancer, and I have not done much in that game, but I am really enjoying it, as I really like those old school kind of MMOs. Like, I love Final Fantasy XI. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And Bryce, what have you been doing in gaming?
Oh my gosh. On the RPG front, we're still in the drought. Someone needs to tell all the people in San Francisco to get off their ass and start playing RPGs. Quit having jobs and families. But yeah, video game wise, things are doing really interesting. Almost worth its own topic for another show later on. I've really popped back into Star Citizen. You're familiar with that, James?
No, actually, I'm not.
Oh gosh! Remember when we were working back at EA, the Origin Wing Commander series?
Yeah.
So the same guy, after he made his own thing, it basically created a Kickstarter to recreate a game called Squadron 42, which is like the spiritual successor to Wing Commander. So they were going to have a social MMORPG part of it also as well. And it became the biggest, I think it's got the world record for the biggest crowdfunding thing ever. They have had $100 million in funds that have come in. Downside is they've been in development since 2014. I backed them back in 2014, and I now finally have a computer that can run it. But they're really starting to reach the finish line on that. So I've been kind of popping around on that. I won't yammer on too much about it because, like I said, that could almost be its own topic as far as a game that's been 10 years in development and over $100 million in development funds. But that's been taking up my time quite a bit. I've reinstalled Age of Conan, so I'm popping into that. And as always, there's 7 Days to Die, which is like my version of crack. I was sad. I was going on Steam and I was looking on there and going, hours played, 1,260. Then again, that's another one of those games that have been in development since 2013 that, I'm going, gosh, have I really been playing the same game for a decade? I think that's the definition of a rut.
Yeah, on my side, so as a Pathfinder game, I've been, in my free time that I can't play video games, I've been just still playing a ton of Conan Exiles, just because I find it fun. Actually, I just find it fun to create new characters and then get to a certain level, then create another new character and get to the second level, the same level. But
yeah. I'm sorry, I said not Age of Conan. Conan Exiles is what I've reinstalled.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Oh, wow. So we should find out what server you're on and
Oh yeah, we should definitely hook up on that.
We can go kill alligators together. It'll be awesome.
And climb, do all the things we can't do in real life, like climb cliffs or jog.
So I did buy a new video game because it was on sale. I've been obsessed with an RPG now called Mutant Year Zero.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's Free League who does it. And it's actually the genesis of their Year Zero system that they use in like Alien and all the rest of their other game systems, which is a beautiful. This one is a little bit more rough because it was kind of the first, but it's Gamma World, but Gamma World that feels a little less cartoony and a little bit more on the serious side. But they actually do a video game called Road to Eden.
Interesting. Okay.
And the one thing that instantly sold me on it is one of the characters in it is a mutant duck. So I was like, oh, there's a mutant duck in this. I have to play this game. I haven't had a chance to boot it up yet. I went back to try to play Witcher 3 for a bit, for a whole half hour, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to continue playing this. Because I get bored with Witcher 3 for some reason, like just really quick. And not that I get any kickbacks from Humble Bundle, but I'm going to say that there's some great Humble Bundles out there right now that if you have the money and the interest, jump on it. So you can pretty much get everything for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition now for I think $30.
Wow,
it's all PDF. And if you do the higher tier one, it comes with a physical product. A Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition board game, which they will mail to you if you do the
I believe it's limited stock though, so it might be sold out by now.
Maybe. They also are doing a Roll20 bundle, which I'm going to jump on once I get some cash because it's at least going into early November before it ends. But anyway, you can end up getting like full RPGs, which usually run about $50 or $60 when you buy them through Roll20. All part of this package for I think it's $30 as well. And it's so you can Fallout is one of the games that you can get in there, which I've been actually wanting to do. There's actually a tarot deck that you can add to it, which I kind of want to get because of the game I'm developing. But hold on, let me bring this up because it is and they're adding more. So November 2nd, they were going to add more to this bundle too, which is really freaking amazing. Where'd it go? It's not living in a simulation. Not Namco. Where that? Dang, nabbit. Hold on. I think it might be. Is it software? Maybe it's under. Oh, here it goes. So yeah, $30. It's 15 items. They're going to add more, but yeah, you can get the Dune Adventures in the Imperium rule set for the game. The Pathfinder beginner box, which I already have for a Roll20. Deep Magic, actually. Speaking of
cool.
Deep Magic, yep. Alien Archive for Starfinder. The Tales from the Loop game. Fallout. The Fate starter bundle that comes with Fate Accelerated, the core system, and a couple of the setting things. Junker's Delight for Starfinder, which I've been actually wanting to read. The Animated Tarot. Basically a bunch of side quests and templates for 5e spells. Another Pathfinder 2nd edition, Troubles in Otari.
Yes, I know that one.
And finally, a set of cyberpunk battle maps. And they're coming out with a couple of more rule sets for it. And also, you get a free month subscription. So, not that you could play it for free, but you can get like the pro account for a month, I think it is, to try it out. So honestly, for $30, that is probably about $150 to $200 worth of Roll20 stuff. So,
oh yeah,
and especially if they're adding more. So I'm going to say jump on that. If you're into running virtual games, that is a good deal. I know like Roll20 has its flaws as most other VTTs do, but to me it's easier to throw something together. Unlike if you really want to do something cool, Foundry is going to be the way to go. Because Roll20, I still can't figure out how to do doors and walls. Like it's nigh impossible, or even how to use the frickin' dark, like the vision thing where you
the whole fog of war thing.
Yeah. So I'm sure people use it. I haven't figured it out yet. But basically, do some quick shilling, and then I promise we'll jump into our thing. So remember, we do have a Patreon. So if you want to help us out, at least to start, getting some of the simple things going, like paying for StreamYard and things like that, please support us. Again, we have cool T-shirts, napkins, panties, whatever, with our logo on it. Knock yourself out. We don't get much money from that, but hey, every little bit counts. If you're not into Patreon, you can go ahead and support us by buying us a coffee at coffee.com/Grindhouse Media. And something, I don't have the thing up here, but we also now are an Amazon affiliate. So I signed up for that program. It's in the show notes. I got to figure out a better way to do it because Amazon is really strict about if you're not generating any income for them, they will yank that affiliate license so quick and make your head spin. So got to find a better way of getting it out there than just putting it in the show notes. With that said, I made something while we were talking. Oh, there we go. An Unsafety Tools X-rated card, Orgy. So whenever you're getting bored at the game, you just kind of toss this card in and let the fun begin.
Have you met most of us gamers? Is that really the card you want to throw down?
But that's the challenge. You have to think to avoid it. This is the point. Do you use stealth? Do you use raw strength? Do you use diplomacy? Of guys, this is not the appropriate time. Because if you fail your saving throw, there's an orgy happening.
God.
Like it or not.
All right. So
have you seen the Book of Vile Darkness?
Oh my God, that actually sounds like a Dungeon Called Classic spell. I cast orgy on the goblins. No, not a goblin orgy.
Ray of nipple hardening.
Oh my God, that actually sounds like a great punk rock meme. My new band, Goblin Orgy.
All right, so we're gonna jump into our first topic. So Gwen is going to talk a little bit about Starfinder Advanced. We're then going to talk a little bit about holiday gaming schedules and just games in general that you have a hard time keeping a cadence with. And we'll talk about the Kickstarter for Diamond Throne. And if we have some time, we'll talk about game buying, but that could be pushed if we get too far into the other topics. So anyway, Gwen, I'm turning it on over to you.
All right. So it's Starfinder Enhanced. And the book came out, I think, a week ago, and it is definitely different from my expectations, but kind of in a really good way. So a lot of people thought that Starfinder Enhanced was going to be the equivalent of Unchained for Pathfinder First Edition, which for Pathfinder First Edition adjusted 4 classes, which was the Rogue, the Barbarian, the Summoner, and the Monk. And the way it worked was Rogue got barely any changes, but got dex to damage, so everybody was happy. Barbarian just got their rage simplified and kind of nerfed by accident, and so a lot of people still just use base Barbarian. Summoner got a complete overhaul because the original Summoner was so overpowered and not meeting creator expectations because they wanted you to kind of go nuts with this amalgamation that you had. Instead, people were just like, well, I'm going to make a ball of natural attacks and throw it at somebody. And then Monk got an overhaul because it needed a serious buff. And people were expecting it. Ooh.
Is this Starfinder? Because it sounds
I'm leading up
fantasy.
I'm leading up to Starfinder.
Oh, this is
I'm
good
just
because I'm like
explaining-
sitting here going,
I'm just explaining what Unchained was for first edition to catch people up.
Okay.
So that was Pathfinder first edition, Unchained. And now Starfinder Enhanced is definitely not that at all. And even the class that everybody had their money on that was going to get debuffed actually got a buff. And it's very interesting because basically every class got like 3 to 4 new abilities. Solarian, which is the highest damage dealer in the game, which is why people thought it was going to get debuffed, can now cycle its supernova a lot quicker. And so it, like, the main drawback of Solarian was they had to be in like 4 rounds of combat for their stuff to really take off. But once they hit the 4-round limit, they were like outclassing everybody in damage. But the issue with that is that not a lot of combats last for 4 rounds. So, you know, it was kind of that issue. And so they just kind of made it easier to quickly get into it, but in return, you fall off. And so it's like you have a lot of up and downs, kind of. It reminds me of Insect Glaive from Monster Hunter. And then for Envoy, I have made this meme so many times, and it's so true, because they made Envoy go from feeling like Zap Brannigan, where you're just kind of this incompetent, yeah, guys, do this thing, yay, to like a clone ARC Trooper from like the 2D Clone Wars.
Oh, the 2003 Clone Wars.
Yeah, the 2003 one, where they're like super badass command leaders. Because it's like you have a thing where you can do one of your improvisations and attack at the same time. And later on, you can do 2 improvisations and an attack, or 2 attacks and an improvisation. And it doesn't matter if that improvisation is a standard action, move action, swift action, you can do it. And later on, they have a thing that's like, oh, I crit. I can do an improvisation as a reaction. And then they have another thing that's like, oh, I can't use that ability until either a minute passes or my buddy crits. But every time somebody crits an enemy, the number needed to like get a nat 20 goes down by 1. So it goes from like nat 20 to nat 19, nat 18. And it's so cool now. Like, I freaking love Envoy. And then I talked about Witch Warper and Technomancer the other week, and they get like some additional abilities that just like really adds to their kit by just making some of their mechanics easier to use, or giving them options that complement builds that when the designers created the class, people didn't really expect to go into, but people did, like melee focused Technomancer. They have some new rules now as well for like scaling weapons, but the nice thing is that they didn't make it go like, oh, it's one or the other, because normally in Starfinder you have to like kind of trade out your weapons every level, and instead of making it one or the other, they have it as like an upgrade system. So you can trade out your item, or you can upgrade it. And it's really cool. And they have like narrative star combat, which I haven't looked too much into because I really like Starfinder's space combat, because that's just like the unique thing about it. And yeah, there were a few other highlights to the book, but those were the biggest ones, and so I'd advise checking it out.
All right, awesome. Yeah, no, Starfinder's a good game. I mean, it does after a while start to give this feeling of like playing space D&D, but I mean,
Oh yeah,
but a lot of times there's supplements they've released, and a lot of the modules are really good. I think that's where Paizo, well, I mean, that's where Paizo started, and I think that's what their strength is is creating adventure paths. Like they are really awesome at creating long adventure paths that hold up after time and are really intricate. The game system, though, well, at least the first edition of Pathfinder, it was 3.5, and it just ran into the same problems as 3.5 did. I like the way they did Starfinder. So at least in Starfinder First Edition, the way that the classes are built, it's a lot more balanced than trying to do anything with Pathfinder First Edition. So the enhanced book sounds interesting. Unchained, I don't know. It's always funny. Unchained fixed the monk that seriously needed to be fixed. Oh my god! Monks were just broken from the beginning. And
they were broken, but they were also boring.
They were like annoying.
The big thing because the big thing that Unchained brought in was they gave them full base attack bonus and abilities that you could like pick and choose. It was kind of like Pathfinder Second Edition Light almost, where it's like every single ability had like an option.
Well, the problem I had, so I was running Curse of the Crimson Throne the first time around. So I ran it twice now. I plan to run it 3 times and finish it at some point. But so the monk kept running in and sweeping. That's all he would do, is sweep. And then in Pathfinder First Edition, when you're prone, you're really vulnerable. So then he would sweep and then follow up with something, or then people would just jump on the character who is now down. And it just wasn't any fun. I was trying to literally kill that one character until the game basically tanked, because I just didn't want that character in my game. And I'm still to this day very, very picky about letting monk characters into my games, because they're always broken to some degree and they're just always the most annoying characters. So, well, the design of the character, I think, is
have you thought of just telling the player no?
Well, the thing is, it's rules. It's the rules, man. I'm very, I'm a very stickler when it comes to playing with the rules. I mean, you mean no as in no, you can't play a monk?
Exactly so.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. When we started the game, I was just very new to Pathfinder, and I had no idea how the monk played out, because I was used to the first edition monk, which wasn't that bad. First edition AD&D monk. But yeah, this was horrible. It was a nightmare character that I just wanted to kill off so badly.
GM Mike is not here, so I'm going to give GM Mike's advice on this. If it's not fun, stop doing it. That's the rule. If a character is making a game unbalanced and it's not fun for the players, it's not fun for the GM, it's time to put the foot down and go, this is broken. We're not doing this anymore.
But I think that's good advice all around. And that'll kind of lead us into our next topic. But ultimately, because we're going to start talking about just holiday scheduling and pauses in games that kind of just get a little weird. But so when you're in a game that starts having pauses that are like 6 weeks before the next session, like to me as a game master, I actually start finding myself less interested, right? So, but I think there's really nothing wrong to tell the group to say, look, my heart's not in this anymore. I'm not gonna produce the game that you want to play, and see where it goes from there. But I mean that's also a hard thing to do too, because if your friends are really into the game, you're just like, oh. But
if they're that into the game, they need to commit.
Well, it's not always like the entire group. It's always like one person. So like in the Wednesday game that Terry and I always talk about, like I'm a college student. I work for a big university. I have a ton of different stuff to do. Terry's an author. He has deadlines. Like everyone, people have things to do. During a certain months, one of our players is an accountant and can't really play because it's tax season, right? So there's a lot of things that will keep the group apart, but a lot of times the frequency. And so going into the topic, so the holidays are upon us, right? So we're about to hit Halloween / Samhain and start going into Thanksgiving. Yule, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever, whatever people
Winter solstice.
celebrate. What's that?
Winter solstice.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all these things coming up, and which is kind of actually oddly that I say that. So next week we're probably gonna have to push back our start time by an hour, just because next Tuesday is Samhain, and I'll be.
If you push it back by an hour, I won't be available.
Oh, really? I thought you said Mondays were actually better for you now.
Yes, but I still have to go to bed at like 9 my time.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I mean, I hate to cancel. I'd like to have a Halloween episode, but we'll see. But I'm observing Samhain on Monday, so again. See, it's holidays come and they shift times or they cancel games. But yeah, this is a time when everyone's a lot of family time, a lot of people prepping because if you're hosting the Thanksgiving dinner or you got to go out and do shopping or any of the cool holiday stuff, family comes over. Gaming it kind of gets thrown out the window. It becomes a secondary thing. So I guess tonight's discussion is like, what do you do to try to keep things going? Whether and it doesn't have to be, hey, I have to run the game. There could be other things that you can do to basically keep people interested or things like that. And I just kind of want to give some hear what people will do in those situations. So I have a couple, but I'll start with Terry. Why don't you
repeat the question to make sure that I understand it?
All right, so you're running a game, which I know you don't do a lot of game mastering, but you are
20 years. 20 years since I've ran a game, but I know the deal.
Yeah, but so here's the thing: if, for example, your players have things to do, right? So it's like, oh no, well, like 2 people can't make it here, 1 person can't make it there, so on and so forth. Is there anything you can do other than try to play without other players, like have NPC them or whatever to keep the game going if people are not available?
Well, sadly, the way that I always came across that as a GM, I did most of my GMing when I was in the military, and that meant that the group was often missing a person or two at one time or another because schedules are exceptionally chaotic in the military. And the answer was, if you're not there, you get NPC'd. I promise that I'm not going to kill you, but I might mess you up a little bit.
All right. So then was that a rule that if someone was being NPC'd, death was off the table for them? Like
Some people didn't do it that way, but me as a GM, I did. I said, if I'm going to have to run your character, I'm going to make sure that your character gets put back into your hands. But I'm not going to necessarily put it back in, mint condition. But it is going to come back into your hands.
Okay. So NPCing is a good way, but a lot of times you might have the character who is a spellcaster. And believe me, as a game master, I do not want to have to like GM and have to like DNPC a spellcaster, because that just is going to make game go really slow. Or maybe there's 3 people missing at one time. So
well, if you've got the majority of the people missing, you may just have to scrap that particular episode. But if you've got a spellcaster or somebody, pass it on to one of the other players.
Very true. So I see, so one of the games I'm in, a Traveler game, and I know I mentioned it a few times, is that the game master, Ken, what he actually publishes, he has an online blog and he publishes a journal for each session, which is really kind of neat. So if sessions are missed, you still have that like recap that you can go back and read to kind of just keep your mind fresh with it. And also he uses that message board for in-character chat. So a lot of times there's players just talking back and forth in character in between those sessions, or things like that. So I mean, those are kind of sort of ways to keep the your players interested in that sort of thing. Bryce, I know that in your gaming, especially I used to be part of the group that you run with. there's also a lot of times where people just can't make it. I know recently, like Mike has just been the other Mike has been super busy. So is there anything that you guys do in particular, like when sessions aren't happening, or you just sit and fondly talk about what gaming used to be? Or
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the NBCing was, at least for me, I was, if there was a lot of times when I wasn't able to make it, so I made sure to, to let Mike know of going, hey, go ahead, NPC my character. All bets are off. If let the dice roll where they may. If I come back to a dead character, that and unlike with Terry, if it's the player that's saying giving you permission on that, then there's no problem on that.
Sure.
The other thing that they would do is sometimes it's rough if you're in the middle of a play, especially if you're in the type of game where you're like frozen in time from since the last session in the dungeon.
Mhm.
On that. The one thing that I know not just Mike, but a couple of other folks would do is that if you're not there, you'd still be part of the group, but they would very much say that this character is, they'll come up with a reason that they're not feeling too well, so they're not going to be playing at their top things. So that would solve your spell casting thing of just going, they're going to do what it takes to keep themselves out of harm's way. But they're not going to add significantly to the group, which also I think incentivizes you to try to make it if you can. I mean, I don't know. I've never run into a situation where people were just flaking and just and therefore needed to be punished for it. A lot of times we're, like you said, of just going there. We're adults now, so we've got adult responsibilities. But it really, the other thing was kind of what you were talking about, where if you weren't able to make it or get everyone together with a group, they would break it off into just, okay, we'll do a little bit of, leave me alone, you fucker. 1 second. Sorry about that. Would be specifically, okay, well, let's catch up via email on this. So you could therefore kind of clarify of going, here are some of the things that are going on, or I know with some of the other DMs that really started getting into the multiple parties and multiple characters per person, you could go into going, okay, we're going to freeze frame on this party right here. Let's go to our secondary characters and see what's going on with them. And then if it's small, you can kind of put together like a quick little city adventure or, traveling in that sort of thing.
Okay, so that makes sense. So yeah, if everyone can't be there, but I think you also have to be in the right position. But I mean, you can also like a good place for it. But then again, you could. I don't know. I've tried this and it never really works. It actually gets more confusing. But you can kind of do like a not a time travel adventure, but like something that happened in the past, especially like if a couple of players were the players that like initially connected. So it's just like, yeah, where this scenario takes place 4 years before. But then the hard part about that is that, well, your characters wouldn't have been this level 4 years ago, and that just kind of throws a monkey wrench into things. But I like the idea of side quests. I mean, that definitely works. Gwen, anything on your end?
So I don't really GM much, usually just like one shots, but I am in longer campaigns. And what my GM does is it kind of depends on the situation and like how much time you have given. Like, for example, we've had a few weeks of hiatus just because of like people being busy or the GM being sick. And so what we usually do is we try to meet up and kind of discuss things, or even just like hang out casually and just have a general like, hey, how have you been? What are you up to? Just to have like a general like, even though we're not playing, we still met up kind of thing. And so you're still kind of committed in that way. But if something happens and you have to quit last minute, like when I had my huge allergic reaction an hour before the session, what they did was they NPC'd me. And one of our players is very knowledgeable of Pathfinder First Edition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of just how he does things in like every game that we play, is he just becomes very knowledgeable about the subject. And so I agreed to let the GM NPC me, and then the player who was very knowledgeable kind of gave like supporting advice for like, you know, if this is what you want to do right now, here is the spell for it kind of thing. And so they kind of worked together to like NPC my character, because they're a war priest, a caster. And the player is very knowledgeable with casters to an obnoxious degree. But yeah, that's usually what we do, is kind of that general like, even if we're not meeting up, we're still kind of meeting up in a way.
So no, and that's also good too, is just working those plans out ahead of time. So I mean, realistically, it's about communication, as with anything. But one of the things I would say that, and this is something I had thought about up to, well, before the session, just because it makes sense too. If you know that your players are going to be completely busy and they are going to miss games left and right, then do the kindness of basically saying, okay, as of mid-October to the beginning of next year, we're going to, get your characters into a good place, into town, not in the middle of a dungeon or anything like that, and just let people know we are going to go ahead and take a 2-month hiatus, which isn't horrible in the grand scheme of things, especially during the holidays. But then say, all right, what we'll commit to though is 3 games outside the campaign. So basically, all right, let's do a Halloween horror game, and that can open it up to another game master or another person who wants to GM in the group to take that responsibility. You could do a Thanksgiving themed game, or obviously a Yule solstice / Christmas / Kwanzaa game, whatever. Again, and you're still gaming, you're still getting the group together, but you can do it more in the sense of like, all right, for the Halloween game, we're all going to bring candy and we're all going to do, Halloween-y sort of things. Do a nice like Call of Cthulhu or something like that. For the Thanksgiving game, it could be the day after Thanksgiving, which everyone usually has off and probably not doing anything except rolling over from being in pain from all the food they ate. Although I know
as a Canadian.
That's right. Canada does their Thanksgiving another time, right?
October. Ours is passed already.
Oh, okay. So, but you know what I'm saying. Like, so for American Thanksgiving, day after everyone's usually off, you can all get together, bring leftovers, drink whatever, and play a game. I don't know what a Thanksgiving theme game would be, but maybe it's a pie eating contest or something. Who knows? And then holiday stuff is fun. I did a Cyberpunk 2020 game for a Christmas game. It's probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and what it simply was is that that the Edge Runners had to take out a cyber psycho Santa who was in a mall, who is basically holding the entirety of the mall hostage, and they had to basically take him out. Because they couldn't get like the Arasaka cyber response team out. So it was holiday themed. It was kind of like Die Hard in a cyberpunk bloody sort of way. But and then in January, when everything kind of got back going again, normal game resumed, right? So you're still getting the game in, but you're also not making it a pressure that it's going to be this weekly thing or bi-weekly thing, that you're dedicating one session each of the months, October, November, December, to do a game. And any game master who can can do it. Greg says, fighting through the hordes on Black Friday. Honestly, I have joined the digital culture of my Black Friday is pretty much Amazon. Or like online. I just go online. I look at all the stuff that's on sale for Black Friday. Don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to try to get a TV or that they have one of in stock or, things like that.
Cool.
So.
A Cyberrun or Shadowrun one-shot where it's a mix of The Purge and Black Friday.
Oh, wow. That would be kind of cool. Kind of like, what's that movie with Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad?
Oh, God, yeah.
When they were trying to get Turbo Guy, I think the action figure was called. Or Turbo Man.
I think Turbo Man or something, yeah.
Yeah. But Pilgrims battled it. That could be a great Mutant Year Zero game, Dana, where basically you can set it in, post-apocalyptic 1595. Yeah.
Roanoke.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. John Dee created a magical apocalypse from England and most of the east coast of the United States, or the New World is all like magically irradiated and mutated, and the Pilgrims finally go there and have to battle like giant turkeys that want to eat them. There you go. That's.
There was an episode of Rick and Morty like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Rick and Morty.
Rick became a turkey, and then turkeys became superhuman. And it was a battle between them and the alien pilgrims.
That sounds awesome, actually. All right. So I guess we can just move off of holiday schedules. Actually, I got a bumper. Yay. It's not a new bumper, but we've only shown it once. So here we go. See, there you go.
I like it. So today we're going to talk about Monty Cook's Diamond Throne, which is a setting that he originally did for 3E, I think. 3E, maybe 3.5, not sure. But the books are pretty nice. The setting intrigued me because it sounded a lot like Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever's world, with giants and seafaring giants and things like that. And I was like, okay, I was a big fan of that particular series, so I backed this. It was supposed to be wrapped up in 2021. The books arrived last week, or the week before. And they still have not finished writing all of the digital adventure stuff that was supposed to come out with it. Their communication has been abysmal when they've bothered to do anything at all, and they've just been completely unresponsive. So it is one of the top 3 worst Kickstarters that I have ever been part of. But it's still pretty stuff. See, they got this pretty map here.
I'm still in limbo with one Kickstarter I backed.
It's a nice big world. It's pretty.
That's really weird for Monty Cook Games, though.
He licensed it to a company. Sorry, I should have been clear. This was by a group out of, I think, Italy called Here Be Dragons. They licensed it, and they produced it. So it's not Monty Cook Games. And they've been very tight-lipped. Monty Cook Games has not said anything bad about this company, though I am quite confident that there's a lot of internal cursing taking place.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just
that's your brand that they're messing with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Bryce, what are you saying?
Oh, I was going to say, just from the beginning of the of your review, you could see where that type of Kickstarter just drags down their brand. Because, you're going to say that, and all of a sudden they're going, oh, my God, Monty Cook, how far they've gone down. They're going, nope, it's not them, but be careful who you license to, because it might as well be you.
And they're the ones doing the distribution. Once they had the PDFs and the books in place, the PDFs, they haven't even sent out the updated PDFs. They're still the playtest PDFs.
Oh, wow.
So they still haven't sent the updated PDFs. And it took, once Monty Cook got the games, the actual physical product in hand, they couldn't get all of the information out of Here Be Dragons for in excess of 6 weeks so they could start shipping it. That's how poorly this other company performed and communicated. So this is all my personal opinion as somebody that supported them. But if I was a business, I would never do business with this company ever, because it is a terrible, terrible look.
So my first question is it for Pathfinder or 3.5?
It's Cypher. It was originally published. It was originally published for 3, I think it was.
Okay.
But this is an updated version of it made for Cypher system.
All right. I thought it was still 3.5 or something. I was going, who the hell publishes a book for 3.5 in like 2021?
Yeah, well, not anything. Although I did get, all of the 3 point whatever stuff off of Drive Through RPG as part of the Kickstarter rewards.
Yeah, at least you got that, I
So,
guess.
yeah.
Something. But that's that sucks too, because Monty Python games, Monty Cook games is pretty reputable. I mean, I may not totally enjoy a lot of the stuff they do, but on the other hand, at least you know that whenever they do something, they do it, and they do it really well.
Yeah, this is not them. This is they picked a bad business partner. They let somebody sweet talk them into doing a licensing agreement, and I am confident that they deeply, deeply regret having done so.
I'm curious, how much did they pull in on the Kickstarter?
Let's go take a look here. I'm sure it was quite a lot.
Say $15.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's more than $15, but we'll know in just one moment. Let's see here. So many Kickstarters. Come on, finish loading, finish loading. Here we go.
This is a reminder. Donna, take nighttime medicine.
All right. It looks like they pulled in 75,000 euros.
Oof.
So not an incredibly large amount.
Yeah, but it's a nice little chunk of change.
75,000 euros? I wonder if that equates to in US dollars.
Well, let's see if it's going to tell me if I go to this page here. It is not telling me.
In US dollars and 24 cents.
Oh, $80,000.
All right. So shoot, that's not too shabby at all. That's close to $100,000. I mean, sure, it wasn't in the millions category, but
And depending on how big the team that's putting it together is, I mean, and to address Greg's comment that he made, I wonder if Here Be Dragons is one of those companies that they do a bad Kickstarter, fold, and then immediately start up again as another company.
I don't get that impression. I believe that this is a company that's been around for a while. It's just been trying to get communications on a regular basis from them through Kickstarter has been impossible over the years since it was done. Let's see, when was this done? This was actually wrapped up. La 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 la. Is it going to tell me how long it's been?
So you said the company is called Here Be Dragons?
Here Be Dragons Games.
Ah, okay.
I wonder if they've shipped any other games before this.
Yeah, I'm like trying to find them and I'm not seeing.
Well, I don't know how long ago this was, but it was supposed to originally be provided, I believe, in 2021 was their estimated. Yeah, estimated delivery was September of 2021. So you can see they're a little bit behind schedule. And the fact that they've got the stretch goals that were PDF only, they still haven't gotten them written. And they are literally 2 years past schedule.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's kind of like the Paranoia not the recent one, but the version before last, the same thing. I'm blanking on the name of the guy that was writing it, but he wrote Las Vegas. Um, and he basically did kind of not posted a runner, but stopped communicating with the company for the longest time about, when he's supposed to be writing it, and then you get updates from him every once in a while. But instead of, oh, this is what I'm writing for the game, it would be sob stories of going, oh, my back is hurting, and or oh, this is. And after a while, I think Mongoose finally just said, okay, enough is enough. We're shipping it as is. That was a shame, because I was working at Philips when that was coming out, and I backed that at like the $500 level. I was, supposed to get that, and boy, it just fizzled out.
I have to say that the communication from one of the Kickstarters where the creator died has been better than this Kickstarter project.
Wow.
Whew.
Yeah, so here is wait, let me just go ahead and present. I just want to share my screen. So first I'm looking at this dude who is I guess part of the design team, the writer. So I'm just very amused at the name Christopher Robin Najikline.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Greg is asking, how do you have the print version and not the PDFs? I have the PDFs, but the ones they sent out aren't the final version because they never formatted them to actually give out. They still have to go through formatting to be actually sent out, according to them, which I don't expect to see that for months. Months, I tell you, if ever.
Yeah, I was going to say, if not years.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe Christopher Robin got lost in the 100-acre wood or something. And,
last time I have Tigger write my copy.
But yeah, I hate. Well, so there's one game designer that will totally blow up and make you feel like it's your fault that everything happened. So
I love those Kickstarter meltdowns.
So
oh God.
Skarka. I can't think of his first name. Let me see.
Well, I have a silly fun fact about Christopher Robin.
Sure.
So, Christopher Robin and like Winnie the Pooh is especially famous in the city that I live in because Winnie the Pooh, the actual original bear, was named after Winnipeg, which is the city that I live in. And we even have a statue of like Winnie the Pooh in one of our parks.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
He was inspired by a Canadian city, I guess,
Yeah.
or is that a province? I don't know.
Winnipeg is a city.
Yes.
Okay. So Michael Gareth Skarka, who try to think. So he's done a lot of. He used to have a company that oh my God, Adamant Entertainment was his. So if you go onto like Drive Through RPG, you'll find like 1,000 different things that he's done. However, two of his big projects, one never happened, and I actually pre-ordered on that and lost like $50. And this is going back to like 2009, 2008, when $50 in our economy was still fairly a good amount of money. Because he got the license for Buckaroo Banzai, and he was going to do a Buckaroo Banzai RPG, and it never panned out. And then he never refunded anyone's money.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. And then he did 3 years later, did another Kickstarter called Far West that just was released earlier this year. And everyone thought it was vaporware. Like and then he would be constantly, oh, I'm in the hospital and I can't do it. Oh, I'm sick and I can't do it. But if you called him on any of that, he would blow up and make it sound, call you every name under the sun and horrible person. Still wouldn't refund you the money. But it finally came out and it's horrible. I mean, so from what I understand, the writings, it's But so he promised that all these high level backers, and we're talking, $100 plus backers, were going to have a picture drawn of them in the setting, and they turned out to be these horrible, like, someone just threw it through a Photoshop filter and badly photoshopped a costume on it. So it it was a mess. But yeah, this guy's a piece of work too. And no, I totally agree, Dana. It's but the guy's an ass, and he's a really, well, I won't go down that road, but let's just say him and I are not politically aligned. So
it's funny how those the folks that do no shows on those Kickstarters will go from the exact same playbook, where it's like all the updates are, oh, I'm in the hospital, oh, I've done this, oh, I've done that, and then immediately this super vitriolic attack. But the trouble is that you keep hearing about these stories again and again and again because people keep giving them money.
Yeah.
The only way that you're going to be able to stop this cycle is to either not give them money initially, or or just pursue legal actions against them. Even if you don't get a judgment, just enough to give them a good spank on the hand and realize, okay, maybe I shouldn't. There's going to be consequences if I throw up another fraudulent project.
I had one project that I support recently that ended up falling apart halfway through. It was for a D&D magazine that included VTT stuff. And it was really great. The magazine was great quality and whatnot. I supported it at the highest level. I bought extra stuff. And after printing issue 4F6, they ran out of money. The printing costs and their inexperience in running Kickstarters, they blew through the money faster than they expected. They're still putting the last 2 issues together in PDF. They'll do the VTT stuff for it, but they have no more money to pay for print. They've run out.
Wow.
Now, they've offered to go ahead and provide the PDFs to go ahead and send in if you want to pay the obnoxious amount of money to have a single issue printed.
Screw that.
Let me grab one off the shelf here because they were really good quality stuff. Let's see. Where are we at?
For projects like that, because like you said, there's a lot of those projects where they are in there with the best intentions. They're doing their best, but they just bite off more than they can chew.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, look at that thing.
That's beautiful.
I mean, it's a beautiful magazine. It's heavy paper. It's really well done.
I can see exactly where all that money went.
And that's exactly what happened. They started this project before COVID came around. They didn't budget for all of this, and everything caught up with them. I'm still a supporter of the guy that did this on Patreon. He's the one that makes those maps on VTT that you ooh and ah over, James. Uh-huh. And so I don't really blame him, but sometimes you get burned. It's just what happens.
Yeah, we actually, so I was the editor, well, not editor, I think my title was games editor, but I was one of the people who did Gygax magazine back in 2013.
That magazine is so missed.
And we actually got to 6 issues. Unfortunately, well, actually, I can probably say it now because Gail got her ass beat in court, and a lot of that changed.
Name and she didn't appear.
Well, so basically, Gary Gygax's wife, when he died, decided basically to throw all kinds of legal stuff at our publishing company, which was doing Gygax magazine. Our publisher, I don't think we actually had a name other than Gygax magazine. Oh no, we were TSR. That's right.
Yeah.
Because Jason Elliott bought the name TSR because they let the trademark slip. But Karma got us because we let the trademark slip and someone else grabbed it. So I guess there you go. But
that was bullshit.
Yeah, and I won't go into it now, but Yeah, I later found out who basically did that to us, and it was someone who was part of Gygax magazine at the time. But anyway, yeah, we were being sued like left and right, and demands were being made. We had to keep paying for lawyers to kind of keep this going. So all the money that was put aside to do the magazine basically just dried up really quick. So we only managed to get 6 episodes out, or 6 issues out, and there were some people who were expecting more who paid for a longer run, but we did some other stuff with them that they were happy with. Like when we did Top Secret, we're offering them copies of Top Secret and stuff like that to kind of just make up for it. But I get it with magazines. Magazines are something that are more expensive than you ever think going in. And because not only are you worrying about the printing, because the print, especially if you want good printing like that, you're going to pay for it. Our art covers were done by some of the famous old Dragon magazine cover artists.
Ooh.
And they're not cheap, but also you get really good artwork from them. And obviously we had people like Ken St. Andre. We had few other big names. I just, for some reason, my mind blanked of who.
Oh yeah, and it's just like I so love these things. Because they were literally a throwback. Sorry, I'd have to reverse my camera on that. A throwback to the old Dragon magazine, straight out of the night. Look at these covers. I mean, just the artwork and everything on that is just phenomenal.
Yep, we were really lucky to
Two of the same one.
Yeah, we were really lucky to have connections and people who did the artwork for Old Dragon to do. There's one, and I can't. Is it I think Caldwell did one for us, and there's also another one that we got this. So there's a very classic Dragon magazine cover. Let me see if I can find it, and then we'll close up. I know now I'm going on a tangent. Let's see, Dragon magazine chess game cover. Yep. So it was this one here, or is it this one here? No, I think it was this one. Or nope. Why can't I find the one I'm looking for?
Oh, here it is. I think I've got the rest of them here. No,
okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one, because let me see if there's such a low res version of this. I'm just trying to find a better res version. Who did this? Let's see. Anyway, yeah, so the artist who did that cover did the one that I apparently can't find a decent res version of. Oh, yeah. I think that's the Caldwell, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the one that was done by the same artist who did the Dragon magazine, or the Gygax. Oh, actually looking. Oh, there. Oh, someone did a cool side-by-side of it. So I guess it was a series. Hold on, let me see if I can go to the website here to show it, because someone did a... here we go. So I'm just going to share screen really quick. Present. Actually, I'm going to do window. So these are some of the covers that they did for...
I've seen that one.
For Dragon. And there's the run. And then there's the last one he did of that series.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's but it's a lot of people love the magazine. A lot of people didn't like it either, because you're just like, how dare you publish a magazine in this day and age? Blah, blah,
Oh
blah,
my god!
But
I somewhere on the shelf here have the DVD collection of 1 through 250 issues of Dragon.
Also, if you go to the Internet Archive, which is a legal site, by the way,
That's what every pirate says.
yeah, it's legal. No, but actually, you can find pretty much any PDF of Dragon or Dungeon on there. Not that I encourage people going there, but it is
Right now.
it is an archive site though, that used for like stuff that's not royalty free, but in public domain.
Yeah.
So
Which those issues of Dragon are not.
I know, but it's weird that they're on there though. So either they don't keep a close eye on it, or
They couldn't possibly keep a close enough eye on it.
Well, if they were dealing with Gale, I'm sure they're going. I don't care. Let it live wherever.
yeah, Gail got strung up though recently. So
Tell us more about the string up.
oh, I can't. I don't really want to get into it because I don't know how. Like, actually, I had to sign a thing that I couldn't talk about that until recently, and I know that's changed because of the way the lawsuit went towards her, not from us, but another entity. So I can at least comfortably say, yeah, Gail did it. But yeah, it was just sad. If we didn't have to spend all that money on lawyers, we probably still would be, or at least I don't know if we'd still be publishing it, but it would have been a longer run than what ended up happening. But yeah, we had articles on like Starfleet battles. We had articles on like Star Wars, Edge of the Empire. So we were like, we were a mixture of like, and we also had Dennis, the guy who did Liam's Tiny Hut in Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what he called it in Gygax magazine, but Bryce is gonna look. I think it's Dennis Astaire, the same guy who wrote Bunnies and Burrows, the RPG from back in the day. So what? It was Liam's.
A whole lot of stuff by Ed Greenwood also.
Yeah.
Oh, and this hack James Carpio, but still.
Yeah.
I still remember that article about what was the metaphor you used, the different galaxies of RPGs or.
Oh yeah, it's in issue 1. I can't remember what it was actually called, but Alyssa Fadden was the cartographer who did the initial map.
Mm-hmm.
And recently she asked us if she could redo the map to add the bigger scope of games that have all been happening since that time frame.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what ever became of it, but yeah, Alyssa's amazing. She did some work for me for Tales from the Fallen Empire too. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, just you can look the Cosmology of RPGs.
Thank you. Yeah, that was
the name of the article. But she did the map for that, and she's actually redoing the map, and it's really beautiful. So if you kind of want to get a RPG history lesson in a giant, beautiful map of the universe, that is definitely take a look at that.
Kind of a niche market there, but
Yeah. All right. Oh well, congratulations, Dana. That's awesome. I stopped doing eBay sales because I just don't have the time or I hate having to go to the post office too. But if you go through like one of those vendors who'll do PayPal for you, then not PayPal, but will do eBay for you, then you lose so much it's sometimes not even worth it. And Greg says, Here Be Dragon says 3 games on Drive-Thru RPG. Oh, all for Shadows of the Dragon Lord. Okay. So, yeah. Won't buy from them. Won't buy from Michael Gareth Skarka or Gareth Michael, whatever the hell his name is. Still owes me money for Buckaroo Manzai, damn it. All right. So anyway, yeah, we're a little over ranting again. So hopefully GM Mike will be joining us next week. We will also talk about we're going to talk a little bit of buying games because I think it's a good topic to go into the holiday season.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yep, because games you want to buy for a friend and then buy one for yourself, because that's true gifting right there. A nice game for so and so and a nice game for me.
The pain of the Canadian dollar currently crashing.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that the Canadian, because I know there was
Last I checked, it's at 69 cents.
to the American dollar.
Yeah.
Time to buy a Canadian.
Wow, that's pretty. Because I remember there for easily a couple of years, the loonie was above the dollar. So it's just
Yeah.
but yeah, the Canadian.
We've been
dollar.
at 75 cents for a while, and then we hit a crash, and now we're at 69. And that was a very sudden drop, and it's still dropping.
It's not as
I
bad
just
as the
go
ruble,
from
though.
Mexico to
They're
Canada.
above 90 rubles to the dollar now.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, because I remember years ago, I heard that like people would like come down, especially like before school, before like back to school stuff happened. They would
Yeah,
come
that was
down.
what me and my mom did.
Yeah, you'd
when I
go
was a
down to
kid.
the US, you'd go to Walmart or something, you'd buy stuff up because the American dollar was weaker than the loonie.
Because like America, for where I live, is like a 2-hour drive.
Oh, it's not horrible. I mean,
Yeah, I mean compared to it. The thing is that in Canada, everywhere is a 2-hour drive.
The other side of Houston for me is a 2-hour drive.
really? Wow. Wait,
It takes at least an hour and plus to get to the other side of town for me.
because of traffic, or just it's
Yeah.
that big? Okay.
It's that big too. It's huge. Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States. It's not small.
Hmm. Yeah, for me, it's just like, well, I mean, like obviously going to another province is, well, no, going to Ontario is about 2 hours, but going anywhere in Ontario, on the other hand, but yeah, it's closer there than some places in my own province.
All right. Well, on that sad note, we will definitely we can tip our hat at the
crush of the Canadian dollar.
All around me are familiar.
on that
Yeah,
note,
I bought the Deep Magic books, and it cost $82, and they were like $29.99 USD.
That totally
were
reminds
mentioning
me. I just I was supposed to get a delivery from Cobalt Press today, and the post office says that it was returned to sender because the addressee was unknown at the address, which basically means that the postal service just didn't even fucking try and sent it back. And I'm pretty sure that it was Deep Magic 1 and 2, the hardbacks.
Oh,
wow.
pain.
So I had to send them an email. Now we'll wait to see how we get this resolved.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that said, we are going to call it for the night. So, everyone, thanks for watching. For those of you who will watch later, because I know we do have some people who do watch it after the fact, enjoy. Don't steal my Orgy X card because
Goblin orgy.
yeah, Goblin Orgy. There we go.
My God.
And with that said, here we go.